Hello, everybody. Welcome to Featured Friend Friday on Melissa's Musings. It's a gorgeous day in San Diego, and I'm really excited to have my friend Jill on today. She is, I'm sure, going to be in here just momentarily, working with the Facebook. So thank you so much for those of you who are watching, for those of you watching on the replay. Definitely give us some hearts and love and likes. We love you guys, and I'm excited to... Hello, Jill. Let's get you in here. What's going on out there, Facebook? Jill, is it letting you add? It's weird. Like, I don't have the ability to add you in here. What's happening? It says the invite has been sent. Did you get like a Facebook message or something out there? Facebook, help me out. What's happening? Oh, here we go. It comes. Okay, it says she's adding. This is going to be a magical... There we go. Hi, Jill.
Look for that. I was trying to get you from my laptop, but that was not working.
Oh,
so we'll do this.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I know, it's like we're trying to figure out Facebook's newfangled way of doing things.
Yeah, it's interesting that it doesn't let you do it. It lets you do everything else from your laptop, but you can't do this from your laptop.
That is odd. I apologize.
No worries. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can. It sounds great. And we've got a couple watchers in here. Thanks so much. Oh, Paul, you say no. Can you hear us? Can you hear us out there, friends? So thanks so much for joining, Jill. I'm excited to talk about self-care today. And so Jill is, do you want to tell us a little bit about you and your company, inheartflow.com?
Absolutely. So I am an emotional intelligence coach and an intuitive. And self-care is big on our agenda. We actually just have come out with an intuitive detox program that is free for all of our tribe, which I'm excited about. And it really starts with self-care. And that's why I focus on that for me, because I was basically coaching for a solid year and really didn't take care of myself, allowed some inflammation to come into my body, some other things going on. And now I'm back and focused on self-care. Which was interesting because I just did a big weekend last weekend where I was in service and giving a lot, and it took its toll on my body. So this morning, that's why I couldn't do this afternoon, because I was getting massaged this morning, which was amazing.
That's amazing. That's so necessary. Yeah. And I know I've talked to you guys, the audience that's watching, about self-care before, but one of the things that I constantly challenge myself with, Jill, too, is kind of getting into a cycle where, I focus a lot on self-care and I'm feeling really refreshed and rejuvenated. And then I tend to stretch and overload my plate. Self-care tends to fall to the wayside. And then I'm like experiencing burnout. I'm feeling exhausted and I'm no longer giving from my overflow, but I'm like giving of myself, and it's not necessarily serving anybody.
Absolutely. I think we get into that space. I know how you are, and I'm the same way. I love to give. I love to be in service to people. I love to give. And I tend to forget that I am also entitled to receive. And so oftentimes, at least for me, what happens is I'll get to this point of actual burnout where my body's aching, I'm lethargic, I don't feel good. And I'm thinking, what did I do? And then it's like, yeah, you're not taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
And I know I'm not the only one that gets to that point. I know there's probably a lot of people that are watching that get into that same space. And it's literally taking a little bit of time each day to do something for yourself. And it doesn't matter. I think people often equate self-care with, oh, I got to do this big routine. No, literally, if you can take 5-10 minutes for yourself every day, that's where it starts.
Yeah. And that's huge. And, for those of you watching, we do have some people out there watching, give us some love, or put a 1 in the box if you have experienced burnout. We all have, and we've all, I'm sure, neglected ourselves at some point where, we don't necessarily prioritize ourselves or make our, get into the act of receiving, like you said, Jill, which is so important for those of us who are big givers, who do play big games. And so many of you watching, I'm seeing who's out there right now. A lot of you are entrepreneurs. You play really big games. You stretch yourselves really far and you give a lot. So what are some of the tips that you guys use to you know, get self-care. I love that you got a massage this morning. That sounds so refreshing and amazing. I probably need to schedule one myself.
Well, and I think the biggest and the most important thing that you can do for yourself, and this is one of the things that falls off quite frequently for me, I'm actually on a challenge with myself right now with this, is drinking water and staying hydrated, because it's good for your skin, your body, your mind, your energy, everything. It's the basis of everything, because our bodies are 90% water. So it's the basis of everything. And if you're not staying hydrated, drinking enough water, you are going to get into those, you know, that afternoon fog, not feeling, you know, completely yourself. And so literally, if you're going to do one thing for yourself, drink water.
That's amazing. Yeah, there's a few things that like I notice when I start neglecting myself, that things start falling to the wayside. Paul, I love the enthusiasm. I chug over a gallon of water a day. That's awesome. Good for you, man. That's fantastic. And
I love it.
yeah, sleeping. So yeah, we've gotten some great interaction here. Those are things that definitely fall to the wayside with me. Sleep, meal time.
Yes.
Like if I find that I'm eating like a 3 p.m. meal on the go, I'm like, oh man, like my self-care is seriously on the wayside right now. Water, exactly that. And then also, you know, those more nourishing activities are great. You know, massages, a walk around the block. Sometimes I'm just like ripping out my hair at my desk and I'm like, you know what? I just need to get up from this space. And I take a walk, and just that can be really refreshing and rejuvenating and good for self-care. So it doesn't have to be something massive or a huge time commitment or, you know, some big undertaking that feels overwhelming. Ultimately, your self-care routine should be really nourishing.
Exactly. It's funny because I was just in my feed this morning came up, there's an app called Pause, and it's literally an app that gives you a 15-second pause during your day. So you just turn on the app and it goes to 15 seconds. It's very peaceful in the background. I think you can, sorry about that. I think you can set the background, whatever you want. And literally you get to decide when you're going to take those pause breaks for yourself. And I think it's an amazing concept.
That's really unique. Good app. Maybe you can post that in the link below for people.
I would love to. I will find it and I will post the link for it.
Amazing. Thank you. And so one of the things that we were chatting about before we even jumped on live was, you know, saying no and the power of saying no. And I kind of wanted to tap into that because with both of us being major givers, and for me too, I have, you know, sometimes I have this weird thing where like I'll have FOMO. So like I have this fear of missing out and I just want to do everything. It's like, oh, I want to do this and I want to do this and I want to do this. And then I notice that my sleep and my exercise and all of my self-care routines are, you know, are suffering because of it. What are, you know, there is so much power in saying no. And I've seen that firsthand in my own life. I would love to, I know you learned some lessons this week on that.
Yeah, I learned some big lessons on that this week. And again, I have had a history in my life where I was the yes woman. Yes, 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 yes. And I've even done that in the last year. You know that I've coached really heavily and done a lot of time being in service. And so literally what I'm learning to do is say no and actually feel it from my heart, be convicted about it. It was interesting because I was just in service over the weekend for an event and I had people and I said, you know what, I'm taking a break. I'm not going to be back. And they're like, oh no, you're not. I said, no, really, no, this is it. They're like, no. I'm like, no, really, this is it.
You're not going to see me. Yeah.
And it was so interesting how people were trying to talk me out of the for me to say
that.
No. Oh, are we back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I knew it and I just stood firm in the fact that I get to focus on me and my life, and it's okay to say no, and it's okay not to feel guilty about it as well. And I think that's the biggest thing, especially women. I equate this with women. We feel guilty when we say no to others.
We do. And like some of us, me in particular, I've talked about this before, like my MO is guilt. So that resonates with me very much. And Kendall, I love it. Say yes to saying no. Absolutely, sister.
Exactly. And I think we put so many other people first. I always tell people, if you're not, you should be at the top of your own to-do list. And if you're not even making your to-do list, you really need to re-examine what's going on in your life, because if you're not a priority in your own life, there's a problem. There's definitely a problem.
Yeah. I love that. And I think that's super powerful in terms of, you know, saying no is one of the things that I've definitely had to commit myself to, and I have to continually recommit myself to. It's like, as soon as I notice I'm overextended, I am feeling the burnout, I'm feeling the overwhelm, and I know that's a feeling that resonates with a lot of you. I'm seeing a lot of ones in the box right now. And the reason being is we often, we have a fear of missing out, or we want to give. And ultimately, you know, there is a lot of power in saying no and prioritizing yourself. People aren't going to get, you know, super hurt about it. And if they are, you get to create an alternate win-win. Maybe it's not you that shows up. Maybe it's somebody who takes your place. Maybe you only get to go for 30 minutes instead of 3 hours, and you get to, you know, spread that time more evenly over other responsibilities. So there's a bunch of really amazing shifts that you can take in your personal life. Jill and I, you know, this is something that we both constantly work on, and I'm with you. Like, where I usually experience burnout and overwhelm, I feel it in my body. And I feel myself, you know, just really feeling exhausted, or that afternoon foggy feeling. And I know as soon as I'm feeling that way and not 100%, I get to make a choice, and it's either I get to start prioritizing myself or I start getting sick.
Right.
And that's where like dis-ease comes into play.
Exactly. And if you're not taking that time to take care of you, you know, I know so many people who are like, oh, I don't need sleep. I'll sleep when I'm dead. And I think that is the worst line to get in the habit of saying, because our bodies require sleep to be at their best. That's when that's when we heal. That's when we rejuvenate. It's all happening when we're sleeping. So that sleep time is so important.
Yeah. And I was actually, John and I are listening to an amazing book right now. I forget what it's called. I'll have to post that in the comments as well. But he talks about how anything, you know, anything less than like 7 hours of sleep, or maybe it was a Facebook video that I recently watched. I don't know. I've been reading a few different things about sleep, and any less than like 6 to 7 hours of sleep, your mind actually doesn't clear out enough toxins to start like regaining new memories. So you can, you know, operate at 5 hours of sleep a night, but you quite literally will not retain any of what's happening through your day. So in 5 years, you won't even remember this time period of your life if you're trying to cut out things like sleep. So I think that's really important to tap into, Jill, too. You know, having the priority of not only doing self-care rituals, but taking care of yourself in general to prevent disease and to prevent inflammation. Because, you know, the body is an amazing vessel, but it only works as well as we allow it to.
Right. And, you know, when you start to deprive yourself of sleep and not take care of you, it does. The first indication that something's going wrong, that you're not taking care of you, is inflammation in the body. So if you're starting to have, you know, sorry about swelling, and everybody's calling me just because
I know,
I'm
me
online.
too. I know, and I even put mine on airplane mode. And I'm like, how am I getting phone calls right
now? You know, it's everybody, you know, doesn't realize that when you start to get in that space of not taking care of you, that's the key indicator for your body to start to be inflamed. And as the longer the inflammation resides in your body and remains in your body, that is what causes all the diseases. Cancer, diabetes, Alzheimer's, all of these different diseases that we are really, they're so prevalent right now, is because people are not practicing self-care. They are not taking care of themselves, and it's taking over everyone's bodies. And that's the problem. That's the biggest problem.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your wisdom and insight. I know that we've gotten, that's why I love sleep so much too, my friend. I feel like it's so important. I love sleep. Dude, if I'm not getting my sleep, I'm like a grumpy Gus. But yeah, it's been a pleasure having you on the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for those of you watching right now. And yeah, I'm just so excited that you were excited to be on the show. Thank you for participating and being a part of it. And I'm excited to continue keeping this conversation going. And I would love to know how those of you out there, you know, manage self-care, what your rituals are, how you prioritize yourself. Did we lose you, Jill? Is she out there? Thank you guys for tuning in. Jill is a fantastic resource, so definitely tap into her. And we will connect with you guys soon. Thank you so much for tuning in for Featured Friend Friday. It's going to be a fabulous weekend.